Hi, I'm Dr. Christopher, and today my talk is about the top mindsets and skill sets needed to develop financial freedom for the physicians during the COVID era. I want to thank the White Coat investors for giving me this fantastic opportunity to share my unique and inspirational entrepreneurial journeys. The theme for today is going to be financial literacy and financial fitness, and how you can apply the framework for some of the same mindsets and skill sets in your path towards financial freedom. As a disclaimer, today's information is for educational and entertainment purposes only. All of the content is original, the views are my own, and my financial disclosures is that I sit on the advisory board of Valhalla Healthcare, an early stage AI healthcare startup where I develop digital health strategy. So my goal today is to provide an overall framework regarding financial independence, freedom, and touching on the overarching themes from which to operate from. We'll go over my story, my background, what makes me qualified to be giving this speech. We're going to talk about where we've been, where we are, and where we're going, and the need for financial literacy, as well as the top mindsets and skill sets to have and develop now and in the future, how you can prepare yourself and how you can use it to your advantage. Who is this course for? This course is for physicians at all levels of training. All of the mindsets, tools, tactics, strategies, and skill sets are all on a continuum and are designed to help the physician educate themselves and achieve financial freedom on different timeframes, depending on one's level of education, experience, risk profile, timeline, and overall goals. So we all have different goals, but ultimately what we're all after is happiness, which means different things. There is an infinite number of ways to achieve that. So financial goals are a means to an end and not an end in themselves. In the end, financial resources are a tool that give you time, option, resources, and choices so that you can lead and live your best life. So we're going to talk about pre-2000 and post-2000 paradigms, both in terms of the mindsets and skill sets, how those changed, the factors that have contributed to the current paradigm, as well as the current healthcare crisis for physicians in today's economy. From there, we're going to go into some of the advantages that physicians as high income earners have compared to mainstream when it comes to achieving financial freedom and independence, but also with the caveat that a high earned income is not the sole determinant for financial freedom. It's what you do with that earned income will guarantee your future financial position. We're then going to list several key action steps that physicians can use to rapidly scale, grow, and protect their wealth. And we're going to highlight some of the top mistakes for high income earners, how to spot and prevent them before they actually happen, as well as look at the role of expenses, assets, and liabilities in the physician's arsenal. So a few working definitions before we continue. First is financial independence. And I define that as a situation where you can go out on your own and become an economically productive citizen. How does that differ from financial freedom? Financial freedom, in my playbook, means that you are no longer dependent upon an external source for your financial livelihood, such as a boss, working at a job, a company, or the government. And so what that means is that if you were to lose your earned income today, it would have no effect or bearing on your current lifestyle. So you would have the courage, the confidence, and the knowledge on how to replace that earned income, either through investments, business, equities, your network, or leveraging your online brand. Of note, a high earned income does not correlate to financial freedom. A little bit about the FIRE movement, which stands for Financial Independence Early Retirement. And this is where individuals advocated for a high savings rate, a low expense rate, a high investment rate, a high return, protecting their wealth. And it eventually led to people retiring in their 20s and 30s, either through cash flow or a significant nest egg. There's different types. There's fat versus lean. So fat means you retire early with a significant number of financial assets, whereas lean means that you limit your expenses during retirement so that you adjust your expenses based on your needs and wants. Like I said, for physicians, it varies based on beliefs, values, and lifestyle. There's also fat versus slow fire, which means that you achieve early retirement very quickly, sometimes 20s and 30s, versus slow, which is the methodical, disciplined way of investing and saving while still keeping your current job. A little bit about myself. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 11 years old as a means of financial survival, and I've honed this instinct into a skill set ever since. I went to Rice University, got into Baylor for medical school, was part of the MD PhD program, and it was during my PhD and graduate school years when my true entrepreneurial venture started. I started 2 companies focused on stock investing and options trading, as well as real estate investing. So by my final year of medical school, at the age of 29, I was already generating a significant income such that I didn't need to depend on any external source for my financial viability. Nevertheless, I was strongly encouraged to pursue the conventional route to earn a high earned income, and thus matched into orthopedic surgery in 2007 at Rutgers University, only to find myself extremely unhappy and disillusioned in my career. So at the peak of the financial crisis in 2008, I listened to my intuition, took a leap of faith, and became a full-time real estate entrepreneur. 8 years later, at the age of 38 years old, I had amassed a financial capital and nest egg such that I would never need to depend on an external source of income for the rest of my life. I then took a year off to contemplate my larger vision, and thus started my consulting company in 2017, whose mission and aim is to fight for financial literacy for physicians at all levels of training. I'm a 4-time Amazon author on multiple streams of passive income. I've appeared on numerous podcasts, including Kevin MD, Peter Kim's Leverage and Growth Summit. I do a lot of healthcare IT consulting, coaching, speaking, as well as sit on the advisory boards of 2 foundations. That's a surface level. If you're interested in going deeper, learning what I went through in the mindsets, you can check out my 4 books on Amazon. The links will be provided at the end. Last year was a time of significant uncertainty and instability on multiple fronts. We were dealing with a health, financial, as well as political and social crisis. I've lived through 3 crises, and I can tell you that 2020 was worse than 9/11 and 2008 combined, both in terms of being more pervasive, long-lasting, the effects more severe, and to top it off, the crises are becoming more and more frequent. It's caused the disruption of many industries, and over the last 20 years, we've seen companies and industries become entirely disrupted very quickly. Furthermore, we are currently facing the onslaught of AI, automation, and a whole host of other disruptive trends and technologies in the coming decade that are set to cause further turmoil in our jobs, profession, economy, finances, and overall way of living. For physicians, last year was a wake-up call and a catalyst for change. The extreme uncertainty, dysfunction in the healthcare profession, the dilemma with hospitals needing physicians on the front line, yet not having the resources to either pay them or protect them. Furthermore, physicians as a cohort are in a situation that places them years, almost 8 to 10 years behind their cohorts, including student loan debt. the long hours, the long years of training. Physicians go into practice in their early to mid 30s, some even in their late 30s, before they start making a significant return on their time and investments. A lot of their counterparts have sometimes 10 years of earnings, savings, and investments ahead of them. Additionally, a high earned income is among the most highest tax forms of income. To top it off, our increasingly litigious and bureaucratic society, as well as physicians being tied both emotionally, financially, and psychologically by boards, licensing bureaus, hospitals, as well as the increasing rift between administration and workers, contributes to the overall systemic crisis that we are currently facing. Lastly, we as a society and as a profession lack basic financial education and literacy. Manifestation of the lack of financial literacy in our society today has resulted in the growing wealth divide, where the top 1% gain more wealth compared to the rest of the 99%. So where have we been and where are we going? Since the advent of the internet, globalization, managed care, as well as generation differences and severely disruptive technological advancements, including artificial intelligence, blockchain, automation, the medical profession has witnessed a fundamental shift from a simple and stable industrial age model into a highly complex, dynamic, and rapidly changing ecosystem. The current model of healthcare is no longer sustainable, as we're seeing high rates of burnout, career dissatisfaction, mental health disparities, financial calamities, inequality, and ultimately career exodus. So looking at the current COVID-19 crisis, it's evident that physicians no longer enjoy job security as they have in the past. The causes for this crisis are multifactorial, and financial literacy is at the top of the list. Yet, financial literacy is not taught or advocated at any level of training. So there was a recent study, 2017, assessing resident and fellows' level of financial literacy and preparedness in terms of financial fitness. And the authors concluded that the level of financial literacy was quite low. Residents and fellows were burdened by high levels of student loan debt, as well as a broken healthcare system. The authors furthermore advocated for the need of further education and literacy during training, especially at the beginning. There's an additional study showing that the level of financial literacy, financial fitness and preparedness, and having multiple streams of income showed a higher level of physician wellness and satisfaction, as physicians could then focus on their patient care and their jobs rather than worrying about finances, resulting in overall clinical outcomes, overall emotional outcomes, as well as healthier families and relationships. So now that we've examined where we come from and where we're going, as well as the various factors on the macro and micro scales, we're going to examine some of the top mindsets needed for financial fitness. So in my experience, the top mindsets to develop either in training now or in the future helps with outside of the box thinking, because outside of the box thinking helps you think in new ways, novel ways, creative ways. Also, being an outsider since an early age, I honed and developed the ability to think outside the box as well as think against the mainstream. And what this has resulted in is being a very effective entrepreneur. Our profession as a whole has a very stable cultural and societal paradigm. So really, in order to innovate and progress and change paradigms, we need to develop these types of thinking. Innovation, creativity are all fostered by contrarian and outside the box thinking. Overcoming an extreme struggle or hardship, such as a financial, emotional, or physical, forces you to look for and search for different ways of surviving financially. two great books that I recommend to develop your financial fitness mindset are, first is The Psychology of Money, and the second is The Millionaire Mindset by Thomas Stanley. And in these two books, one of the key concepts expounded by them is, what is your financial blueprint? So your financial blueprint is the way you think, feel, things associated with finances and money. And this is pre-programmed at an early age, society and the media. What's interesting is that we are pre-programmed to a lot of times feel guilt and shame about marketing and promoting our services, talking about money and asking for money. The thing is, a strong financial footing and money is able to provide a lot of value and resources, not just for yourself and your family, but for society as a large. In your business, it helps you to reach more people, attract more clients, and deliver more value and services. So one of the things as physicians that we need to do is start getting comfortable discussing finances, getting financially literate. Money should not be a taboo subject. The next principle talked about by Dr. Thomas Stanley was where he looked at average millionaires. And what's interesting is that I've done a lot of studying, and a lot of what we consider rich and wealthy is actually misinformation by the media and society. We think we need to live in fancy neighborhoods, drive fancy cars, go on expensive vacations. And all of that is great, but we have to learn the difference between what is rich and versus wealth, as well as what is the difference between income statement as well as balance sheet rich. So ultimately, all we're after is happiness, and the way and means of achieving happiness is different for everybody. But ultimately, time is the most precious and scarce resource. We can never make time back. We can either save it or we can multiply it. And what I mean by multiply time is we have to be able to, if we create books, products, and services, or we have businesses, or we have real estate and investments, those are extensions of yourself, and those can run on autopilot without you physically needing to be there. So in that case, you're able to multiply your time. You're able to get more done in a more efficient, effective manner, as opposed to that is trading your time for money. So what we have to do is learn the difference between rich versus wealth. So wealth is in terms of freedom, time, independence. The other thing is, I mentioned in my prior definition of financial freedom, which in my playbook means that if you were to lose your clinical earned income today, it would have no bearing upon your current lifestyle moving forward. So what that means is we have to learn how to sever the relationship between time and money. And we have to make our income both time as well as location independent. The next concept to talk about is income statement versus balance sheet rich. So income statement means that you enjoy a very high earned income, you have a lot of expenses, but balance sheet rich means that your asset column, the assets, so for example, investment properties, equities, businesses, self-employment, partnerships, affiliates, patents, intellectual property. So we want to take our high earned income and shift it into the balance sheet aspect, maximizing our assets and minimizing our liabilities. If we do take on liabilities, we want to make sure that those liabilities are used for income producing assets. Lastly, basic financial literacy. So we're not really taught what are the income, expenses, assets, and liabilities throughout our career. However, what is most important is to take on a basic understanding of what is your earned income, what is your tax rate, does portfolio, passive income, royalty income, self-employment income is taxed at a much lower rate compared to earned income. So if you can take that earned income and put it into cash flowing, producing income assets, you can drastically reduce your tax liability as a physician. So now that we've gone through the mindsets and what it means to be mentally fit and prepared to take on the challenges of becoming financially fit, let's talk about what is needed in terms of skill sets to develop in order to achieve financial fitness, ultimately achieving financial freedom for you and your family. So there was this great book written, expounded upon the idea of the importance of having multiple streams of income. This was right after 9/11. So during 9/11, I was still in my second year of medical school, but I saw a lot of my friends and colleagues who took jobs in the tech sector on Wall Street. They were let go from their jobs, and this had a significant impact upon their future confidence and their future and their livelihoods. So I saw a lot of them struggle afterwards because they were fresh out of college, and a lot of them, these were their first jobs, and to be let go from their first job was a significant psychologically traumatic event. So what this book was talking about was, just like we have health, car, life, disability, home insurance, the ability to develop multiple streams of income is an insurance against what is happening last year, 2008 and 2001. And bear in mind that 2020 is not the end, it's just the beginning. So there's going to be more and more calamities. There's going to be more and more crises. There's going to be more mobility with globalization, the internet. So it's very important for us to understand a basic financial literacy and have the know-how and the wherewithal to develop multiple streams of income as insurance against career calamities. So a lot of the skill sets evolve around this concept of the ability to generate multiple streams of income. So the number one financial fitness skill set that most millionaires have is the ability to not be dependent upon one sole source of income. As a personal example, I have currently 12 sources of passive income. With the pandemic last year, one income stream in particular, my short-term rentals, was affected. However, did not affect my entire livelihood such that I was able to recuperate and rebound. So what I did was I worked on that extra stream of income and made it more robust so that when the next pandemic or the next crisis hits, it will not be as disruptive as it was to me last year. Like I said, 12 sources of income, one income stream was disruptive. That income stream led to the development of several more sources of income. So this is the way you should be thinking in terms of developing your overall financial fitness and financial skill set in your path towards financial freedom. The other thing I wanted to emphasize is that for a clinician who earns high six-figure income, to have that as a sole source of income is highly risky in today's society. The idea of developing multiple streams of passive income gives the physician and the clinician an extra peace of mind, knowing that they're not dependent upon that one source of income where they have other backup streams. So overall, we want to maximize our earning potential through earned income, through maximizing our earning potential, maximizing our earning gains, starting earlier and investing earlier. We also need to protect it by watching our expenses, decreasing our consumptive debt liabilities, avoiding costly mistakes such as divorces, lawsuits, as well as decreasing our overall tax liability burden. From there, once we do that, we can save, invest, and grow. So let's talk a little bit about savings and the role of cash. It's recommended that one have 6 months of savings in the event that all of their income is wiped out to cover all of their expenses. Given the amount of uncertainty out there today, I recommend 2 years. Another thing to note about cash is that it's a temporary parking vehicle for emergencies such as the loss of income, unexpected expenses. So in addition to that 2 years of savings that you should have. You should also have a certain amount of savings allocated in the event that an investment opportunity comes up. So there's a term known as the velocity of money, which basically discusses how fast money is changing hands on a per minute basis. What's interesting is that in our current economic times, cash is a currency and a medium of exchange rather than a long-term store of value. And this is because cash is depreciating at a higher rate due to near zero interest rates, as well as central bank money printing. So what we need to do is we need to have 2 years of savings for unexpected expenses, a certain amount allocated when an investment opportunity comes up, as well as a disciplined, strategic way of allocating and investing our money on a weekly and monthly basis. So we want to put our savings into assets such as low-cost index funds, real estate, REITs, syndicates, gold, silver, and businesses. These are the most stable and most surefire way for physicians to allocate their money and their earned income in order to rapidly achieve financial independence, early retirement, and ultimately preserve their wealth and their freedom. Some of the greatest places for physicians to place their wealth and develop other alternative streams of income are real estate. So real estate is great for tax advantages, wealth accumulation, asset protection, proximity and access to a great network, resources, and schools. The other is through equities. So what I recommend is a high savings rate. I've always lived by the rule of hashtag live like a resident. You adjust your expenses based on your needs and wants. The other thing is not only do you have a high savings rate, 50% or more, you also have a high investment rate. So at least 20%, I advocate 50% or more of your income into low cost index funds. If you develop a systematic and strategic and disciplined way of investing, whether the market is up or down, you can always dollar cost average into the market. In over 10 to 20 years, you're almost bound to come out on top. The other ways to develop sources of income include consulting, speaking, writing, and a whole host of other niche-oriented topics. Now that we've discussed some of the mindsets that make you financially fit, as well as the number one skill of a physician, let's talk about the different ways of promoting and generating income. Like I said, we have to be comfortable discussing money, and we have to be comfortable marketing and promoting ourselves. What's interesting is that we as physicians are always marketing ourselves. Did it through medical school, residency, fellowship, and to get a job. So all we have to do is translate that knowledge, experience, and skill set into organizing it different avenue and cohesive manner so that we can market and sell new products and services and experience. So how does this work? So as physicians, we have the brand, we have the authority, influence, experience, and education. We just have to be able to organize our skills and experiences into products and services. We have to learn how to market and promote ourselves. So some of the skill sets that have really helped me are networking. So one of my decamillionaire mentors told me that your network is your net worth. So back in 2008, when I set out to become a real estate entrepreneur, I leveraged my network, my background, my experience, and my contacts so that I could start investing in single families right away. In 2016, when I achieved fire status and took a year off, I leveraged my network and my contacts. I had no social media following, no brand influence, no books. And so from there, I leveraged my network to gain more traction and experience. All of these things we all possess in some form or fashion. So we just have to realize it, give ourselves permission, and allow ourselves to. So in today's age, the idea of influence and persuasion and creativity is going to be very important. So we have to learn how to develop a strong brand on and offline. We have to learn how to leverage technology and social media. Social media can be a fantastic way to leverage your experience, your authority. It can be a great way to network, communicate, to market, to reach out to potential clients, as well as being fun and creative. So we talked about the mindsets and skill sets, and how do you take that and position yourself? I want you to take one thing from this talk and implement it and apply it right away. It all begins with self-education. Before you do anything, before you invest in any stock or real estate or any course, it all starts with education. You can buy a simple book and it'll position you for success. So education. And we'll go from the free to the higher tier, higher paid products and services. So always invest in your networking, masterminds, books, digital programs, boot camps and workshops. What's really interesting, back when I was a medical student, used dial-up modem and Ethernet was just coming on to watch the medical school lectures. There was no YouTube or Facebook. These days, you have Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, podcasts, all at the touch of your fingertips for free. So leverage technology, really leverage social media to learn about these new and advanced concepts. The barriers to entry are much lower and the margins are much higher. And so it's a lot easier to achieve financial independence, financial freedom compared to 20 years ago. With the abundance of the information age, there's a whole host of digital programs, boot camps, workshops. Ultimately, a coach on it who understands the lay of the land and who also gets you on a personal and fundamental level would be highly valuable. And again, a lot of these are group masterminds, can be private one-on-one. A lot of these are on the upper end. Because physicians, we start earning our greatest income in our mid to late 30s. So we are sometimes 80 years behind our cohorts who have started earning six-figure salaries in their mid to late 20s. So if you can start learning about investing, start learning about these mindsets and skill sets early on and start implementing it and start taking action, you'll be that much farther ahead. Ultimately, time is the most valuable and precious resource. It's up to us to learn how to take that time, protect it, and multiply it. Thank you for your time and attention. I'll be available via the chat box to answer any questions you may have. I want to thank the WCI Con investors, sponsors, and I want to thank you for your time and attention. It can be reached on social media, either Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. Contact is Christopher H. Liu, MD, PhD. Email me at christopherliu.md.phd@gmail.com. You can check out my 4 books on Amazon, and you can check out my YouTube channel as well as my Instagram channel. I thank you for your time and attention and wish you the best in your journey. Thanks so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed that webinar segment and got a ton of free value from it. If you're looking for more resources to help you on your financial freedom journey, we've got plenty to offer. You can book a coaching call with us for personal guidance or explore our range of digital courses, e-products, workshops, books, and audiobooks, all designed to help you grow and succeed. And if you want to stay connected and continue learning, make sure to follow us on social media. Just click on the links below to stay updated with our latest content and resources. Thanks again for tuning in, and I look forward to working with you.